Hello everyone. That was the another session of manual testing. In that, in that, we learn about how to write a test cases, how we report bug report, and what was the testing techniques. In that we can learn. That was first of all. Welcome friends. Let's learn practical testing skills today. Okay, I'm starting the recording. Hello everyone. That was another session of manual testing. In that session, we learn about how to write test cases, bug reporting, and testing techniques we need to know as a manual test engineer. Okay, so don't worry, just put on your headphone. Oof, no, yeah. Hello everyone. Welcome to another session of software testing. In that, we learn manual testing. I'm so excited for the that session because in that session we learn about practical knowledge about how we write test cases, how we report bug, or which testing techniques we need to know. So welcome. And mm, uh, and the last part we learn about HDLC and STLC. That was software development software development life cycle and software testing life cycle, and we'll also learn types of testing. If you are just joining us, don't worry, just put on your headphone, relax and listen to me like I'm your friend explaining a simple Indian English. Today we are diving into some of the most important skill for a manual tester: writing test cases, bug reporting, and testing techniques. This part will the most important part as a software tester. If you go to and join any company, and that was the everybody as a manual test engineer, as a engineer, as an automation test engineer, that was very simple. You need to know about these things because that was very normal, and it is you should define as a good tester or not. That was writing test cases, bug reporting, and testing techniques. That was no matter where we write test cases, like mm, bug Jira, Excel sheet where we report bug, like some of the companies use Jira, some of the companies like multiple tools we use, but don't matter that because uh, the writing techniques is most important in that. So let's start. So if don't have book, just grab a notebook if you want. Maybe some rub book or no note. That was don't worry. I will share in the description. So the first question was in your mind come in, that was a what is test case. Let's begin with test case. A test case is like a recipe of testing. It's a step-by-step guide that tells us what to test, how to test, and what result to expect. Imagine you are cooking paneer butter masala. The recipe says add 2 spoons of butter, 200 grams of paneer, cook for 10 minutes, and it should taste creamy. Similarly, a test case say enter a valid username, click login, and user should see a home page. Why are test cases so important? The ensures we test everything systematically. They help us communicate what we tested to the team. They make testing repeatable so anyone can follow the steps. For example, if for testing Zomato group food order, what we take example from last session, mm, in that session. we take one example of group food order. In so we will continue that example. A test case might check. Oh, what? Okay. Okay. So why are the test cases so important? They ensures the test everything systematically. They help to communicate what we tested to the team. They make testing repeatable so anyone can follow the steps. For example, if you are testing Zomato group food order feature, a test case might check if user can add friends to a group order. Without test cases, we might forget to test something or test randomly, which can miss bugs. The analogy behind that, a test case is like a teacher lesson plan. It guides us to what to teach or test, how to do it, and what the student or software should learn. the the structure of test case was depend on company to company, but not was more changes. That was test case id was the remain the same. And like uh, taste case id is unique, but everywhere every company is like they little bit change to put write the taste case number, like any company use tc001, any company write normally 001 and heading taste case number or serial number of taste case. That was the, but not more change. Okay. So a good test case has several parts to make it clear and useful. Let's go through them with an example of Zomato's login feature. Test case ID, a unique number like TC001 to identify the test case. And second was test scenario. What we are testing, like verify login with valid credential. That was the scenario. The next was precondition. What needs to be ready, like a user has a valid Zomato account. Fourth one was test steps. Test steps by the actions what we perform to uh, to complete the test case, like open the Zomato app, click on login button, enter phone number and OTP, and click on submit button. Then test data also a important thing, because which data we input, that look to test data we know. Then like phone number, like if you enter 10 digit of phone number and then click on submit button, login button, and then OTP comes and we put OTP and user able to log in. That next was expected result. If you are just think if you test an app, or if you are user to normal user to download any app like Zomato, what will happen? The first time you will log in, then you put your mobile number. After that, the OTP was comes, and user put the OTP into text box and click on submit button. What happened next? If the OTP is correct, then user able to log in. That was our expectation. What will be the expected result? User able to you, the expected result is what expected result is user successfully login after submitting OTP. The actual result was what we actually happened. Expected was after putting mobile number, OTP was come and we put on submit button and user is able, user login successful. That was our expectation. But actually when we test that app or use it, when we put the OTP, we put the mobile number on mobile number field, click on login button, get the OTP, and after putting OTP, we click on submit button. So if the OTP, if the user is logged in, then we put, yeah, user login successfully after putting OTP and mobile number. That was the actual result. Expected mean what will be need to happen, what was the requirement from this functionality, or actual means what really happened when we test. The status is whatever I'll think about. Think is not, you do one exercise after this session, just put on your mobile and download any app, just click your name fields and click on submit button. What will happen? If the status is pass, then that was status. If the status is pass, we put pass or fail. Some companies normally use tick, like if the test case was plus, we normally tick this case, and the test case text box color was green, and if the test case was fail, the red test case text box is red. The I have few examples. Okay, I will share one slide in that we we how our test case will be designed. In that there are the we put test case ID like TC001. Test scenario was verify login. Precondition was user has a account. Test steps was enter phone and OTP. Test data was phone number and expected result see home page, and last was actual status and result pass or fail. Yeah, that was the example of how to write test case. But that was very simple example of test case. But in future when you write test case for dashboard or somewhere, fill the forms, like if anybody working on um, pharmaceutical project, like where user is able to fill the form, or event type domain, or somewhere with that have long form, then in that case there are very different scenarios we can check. So in that condition there are lots of test cases we wanted to write. Okay, I have another example was Zomato login. That was the if you are Zomato tester, in that if you are working on Zomato's project, that was the how we write test case in a simple way. First of all, we put test case ID scenario. Yeah, first of all, test case ID is a unique ID in that scenario where we are writing the test case. Our scenario is verify login with valid credential. That precondition was valid Zomato account. If the user have valid Zomato account, the user the because if user don't have valid account, the when we click on login, the OTP can't get, because OTP you OTP will not come into our phone because we don't have any account now. So first of all, precondition was we need to have valid Zomato account. Then what steps we do? Steps one: open Zomato app, then click on login button, then enter a phone number, then enter OTP, then click on submit button. And what was the expected? Expected was user sees the home page. That was our expectation from app. Okay, then Also, we write positive and negative test cases, because if you are if you are doing only positive test cases, sometimes what happen, you if very old, it's like 10 to 20 years ago, what happened when, I don't tell the name, but in that app, without putting mobile number, we click on login button, user is login successfully. Why this happened? Because use because tester test this app, pro, because tester does not test this app properly, because I think he tests the app like positive way, and he forget to I think he, I think if I have one example, if you are a tester on a one company, you just not, I think, if you are if we are a tester, sorry, if we know, if I am a tester on a one company, in that company said I have come to a ticket was login functionality test, and what will have, what I do, I just test the only positive way, I don't test it negative way. What happen if the negative way, user able to log in successfully, then users can't put their actual mobile number, and really it was very negative impact on company's image. That was negative testing also very important in that case. So what contain we test the invalid input in negative testing, like in the mobile field, we mm, empty mobile field and click on login button, and we check what happen if the validation will come, validation come, that was the we want. But if you go to the home page, that was very inaccurate. When in that case we raise a defect to the developer. Okay, so are you clear to why positive as well as negative testing important? I have some questions for you guys. So how many test cases we do right? Anyone have any idea about that? Okay, I'll tell. It depends on feature. For Zomato login, we might write 10 to 20 test cases covering valid, invalid inputs, no internet, etc. For a big app, we could write hundreds. The goal is to cover all positive scenarios. Student question: can we reuse the test cases? Yeah, yes. For example, login test case can be reused for regression testing. When Zomato adds a new feature, we test update the test data and step if needed. I have one exercise for you. Think of an app like Paytm. Write a test case in your mind for the payment feature. For example, the scenario was verify payment with valid UPI ID. Steps: open Paytm, select UPI, enter ID, and pay 500. Expect result was payment successfully, and try to think to three steps and an expected result. What will writing effective test cases was a great test cases follow these steps. If be care, use a simple language like click login instead of initiate authentication. It was really big difficult word. Sometimes when we move to that ticket, or if we change our company, then we provide KT to another tester, then he also understand what was that, because if the we write initiate authentication, and that was bug, or I think some was like in that way, and raise a defect, raise a bug to developer. So even developer need to easy to understand will what we want to say. Be specific, include exact test data like phone number, cover all scenarios, write positive, negative, and edge cases maximum, and then make it repeatable. Anyone should be able to follow your test case. Case study: let's write test cases for IRC Tatkal booking feature. I have positive test cases. Book Tatkal ticket with valid details. Steps: open IRCTC, select Tatkal, enter valid passenger detail, and pay. That was the scenario. Was book a Tatkal ticket. Yeah. Okay. Oh, how we write on a test cases on IRCTC Tatkal booking feature. Scenario was book Tatkal ticket with the valid details. Then what was the steps? Open IRCTC app, select Tatkal, enter valid passenger details and click on play button. And what was the expected ticket book in under 1 minute? Okay. And what was the negative one? Scenario was book Tatkal with invalid card details. Scenario was expected result was validation message was displays like invalid cards. And edge case, that was another case, was edge case. Book Tatkal is the exact opening time at 10 a.m. Booking the expected result of booking starts successfully. Okay. I have one exercise for you for WhatsApp. Write two test cases in your mind. I know WhatsApp was an everyday app. Yeah, in a day, hundred of times we open WhatsApp. So just if you don't write, if you just think about how we write that two test cases in your mind. One is sending a message in a positive way, and one for sending a message with no internet. That was negative. This helps you to practice covering different scenarios. So that was another was bug reporting. Now let's talk about bug reporting. Another key skill for a tester: when we test, we find a bugs, errors, defect in the software. Our job is to report them clearly so developer can fix them. What is a bug? A bug is anything that doesn't work as expected. Example: a button doesn't work. Example: Zomato's add friend button crash. What will be happen? That was big loss in company. The app shows wrong data in Paytm. What will happen? That was that was big mistakes. The software crashes is or freeze. Bug can be small, like misspelling word, or critical like Paytm failure. As a tester, we find a report them to improve the software. Analogy behind that: a bug is like a hole in a new shirt. It might be a small, but it you don't fix it, it's get bigger. You are like a tailor finding the reporting holes for a repair. So how to report a bug? Same like a test case, but in a different way. If you use tools like Jira, Bugzilla, or Excel to report bugs, a good bug report includes in all where we put like Jira, Bugzilla, or Excel. That was the styling was different, but execution or the submission was same. That was a bug. Uh, and we need know where we or whom to assign that bug. That was first where bug id, that was a unique number. In is that bug id is unique, then we write a short summary of that bug, where we found that bug, like login button not working. Then we put description, detailed explanation like clicking button does not working. When we putting mobile number after clicking on login button, like that. Step to reproduce, and as same as test cases, in which steps we did to reproduce the bug, like open the app, put mobile number on the mobile field, click on login button, and button was not working. That was the reproduce. Actual result was what happened. In the test case, what we do, we in that we write expected result first, but in bug report, we put the actual result, what happened. So in that case, if login not successfully when we click valid credential, so actual result was app stay on login page. And what was the actual expected result? Expected result was user sees the home page after putting valid credentials of login. That was environment, which environment we test that, like device, OS, Android, like which version we use, like which model we use, or sometimes if the app working on a web page, so Mac, Windows, like which environment we find that bug. And after that, we put the severity, how bad is it, like high, medium, low, and then we attach the screenshots or videos. So how was the bug? I have one example for you guys. So in that case, like if you find a bug on Zomato, like bug 001, summary was login button not responding, or login button not working. Step to reproduce, open Zomato app on whatever the version we are working, enter phone number, enter OTP, and click on login button. Actual result was app stay on login page, and expect result was user sees the home page. And that after we put the severity, environment, and attachment. Then I have in that I think you have some question like what if developer doesn't agree it is a bug. Sometimes developers say it is not a bug, it's how it's designed. I'm not telling about that, was example what we just uh, reviewed. I think sometimes what happen, mm, like a calendar button, calendar not opening, like when we put the data, calendar animation or something was not properly showing. In that case, what happened, the developer say that was not bug, it how is designed. In that case, we check the requirement. If the requirement says the button should or calendar was in good polite and in good way, in that we check the Figma that was a bug or not. If the developer doesn't agree to that was not a bug, so we politely explain and escalate to the project manager if needed. Sometimes that was not needed, because if we provide the Figma or uh, docs with we proof that was bug, then developer should accept to, yeah, okay, that was bug, I will fix it. And how, then next question, how do we decide severity? Severity depends on impact. If user can't log in, it's high. If you button color wrong, it's low. We think like user to decide. Sometimes what happened, that was misspell about login. It's like it is little bit loss, fog in or something, any other, that was a low severity. But in the case in login button click, um, mm, login button was sign in button, that was little bit high severity. So I have one exercise for you. Imagine you are testing on Swiggy and a place order, button crashes. Think of a bug report with the three steps and how to reproduce and how you provide a severity in that case. Then tools for a bug reporting. For common tools, we include Jira, Bugzilla, all Excel. And Jira we use, mostly companies use Jira for tracking bugs and tasks widely used in the companies. Another was Bugzilla, another bug tracking tool, and third one was Excel. In Excel was used that companies that project was too simple, or sometimes it was their budget is not too high for Jira or Bugzilla. In that case, we use Excel. like it's depend upon companies. Also sometimes project duration was 3 months, and no need to put on the Jira. In that case we simply write the bugs on Excel sheet and provide that Excel sheet to developer. Through practice of Jira, it's popular on IT company. Take clear screenshot and keep reports polite and professional. And then we learn testing techniques of black box. Anybody knows what is black box testing? We test without knowing the code, focusing on input and output. For example, input like enter a valid phone and OTP in Zomato. Output was check if the login works. Techniques includes equivalent partitioning. Divide into two groups for age input 16 to 60 and test 17 invalid or 30 valid, 61 invalid. Are you understand what I'm saying? In the equivalence partitioning, in that for age valid only for, or this data will this food is only for 18 to 60 group. Then in that case, if anybody's age is 17, then the functionality can't enter a 17 age or 61 age to can't log in. And the second was the one was the boundary value analysis, like BVA, the age like 17, 80, 60, and 61 for age. Like boundary value analysis, it's likely if the 18 to 60 that was one value, except like 17 or 61 age. Error guessing, guess where bug might be, like special characters in a password. I have one example for you. For Paytm payment, just test 0 invalid and 500 valid, and 1 lakh was edge case. Second one was exploratory testing.